Hey everybody. I am going to go ahead and do a bit of a brief lecture on some strategies for academic summary today. If you watched the film from the Little Brown Handbook that's assigned and read the text from this week, you will have a pretty good idea of what a summary it is. It's pretty much what you think it is, taking somebody else's ideas and using your own words to restate the main points. However, because academic summary has a very few special components that I want to call your attention to, I wanted to take a little bit of time to do this brief prezi on how to do an academic summary. So let's go ahead and go to the first strategy. Okay, so strategies for academic summary. The first, of course, is to understand the source material, then to annotate, to write, to check your work. And I do want to mention that these are only strategies. These are not the only way to do this. However, I have found them to be fairly good strategies for academic summary. And we'll talk more about those. I know that you'll be working to develop your own methods for academic summary, at least in part because we use summary throughout the semester. Summary is the basic component that we'll start with because pretty much every single essay we're going to write will have some amount of summary in it. You'll actually be doing we do an argument, we do a rhetorical analysis, we do some basic research stuff, but all of those essays have to start with an academic summary. So try the method that we're suggesting here. If it works, cool. If not, try your own method. See if you can figure out a way that works best for you. I'm all about pragmatics, so whatever works best for you. Okay, so let's get back to this potential strategy. Understanding the source material, annotating, writing, and checking your work. Now, most people find that understanding the source material and annotating go hand in hand. So once you start to make some connections, start to understand some things about the source material, that's when you want to start annotating it. Make sure you get your notes down. I know you all have a lot of things going on, so it's usually best to annotate as you go along, so that way when you come back to your material you can remember it. Always make sure that you're looking up words in a dictionary that you don't know, that you don't recognize, or maybe you don't remember exactly. A lot of times we pick up an intuitive meaning for a word rather than the exact meaning. Please look it up. This can make a big difference between understanding a point and completely missing it. Okay, even if you don't have a dictionary on hand, there are several good online dictionaries. Make sure you add these definitions to your annotations if there are words that you don't know. There's a couple of sites that I've advocated here. www.dictionary.com is a good credible source. Merriam-Webster.com is also another good source. Both of these have free dictionary definitions if you don't have a dictionary of your own. However, over my own undergraduate career, I had eventually picked up several dictionaries, and if you find you're using one regularly for writing or anything else, you might think about picking one up. Okay, and as part of this understanding and annotating, a few of the things that we need to really start thinking about are things like the author. Who is the intended audience? What's the purpose of the author's writing? What kind of context is the author writing in? These things will start to help you understand what the point is. Why is the author writing? Why does the author care about this particular subject? What are they trying to get you to do as the audience? So, and again, making sure you take down this information is really important because it can give you your own perspective later on when you're coming back to do your summary. Okay, you also want to make sure, because the summary is just somebody else's ideas, this is not where we're reflecting on any of these ideas yet. We'll get to that, I promise, but This is just somebody else's idea. So you need to make sure you're writing down the main idea, which is, of course, the thesis. Any topic sentences, usually those are the first sentence of every paragraph, but not always. It doesn't always work that way. What evidence you find? How do they prove? How does this author prove their topic sentences? What do they conclude? How do they come to the end? I mean, what kind of information is here? Okay, and then we have some strategies for summarizing. Usually a really good strategy for summarizing is to close your book and your notes after you've taken all these notes. And without looking at these, try to write out, a main idea, topic, sentences, proof, conclusion, or just, try to write out what you think this article is about in your own words. A lot of people find the no peeking rule helpful for the strategizing, at least for the draft part, okay? And then after you've done all this writing, you want to compare this to the original text. Does it accurately portray the meaning, or did you miss something? Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. If it does, excellent. If it doesn't and needs a little bit of work, that's when you can go back and maybe look back at your notes and make sure that you didn't miss a main point. But while you're doing this summary, while you're doing this draft phase, you need to compare this writing to the original text, because the structure and the wording, though the ideas should be the same as the original summary, the structure, the wording, the way it looks should not be the same. It should be your own words. And if it's too close to the original, you need to revise it. You need to make sure that it's looking different than the original. It looks more like you would say it. Okay, and this is another strategy for summarizing. I couldn't resist this cute little cartoon. We're going to cite all the sources, and don't panic about this right at this point, but I just want to make sure that I'm mentioning that even if you're summarizing, you have to cite. It's still somebody else's ideas, so you need to make sure that you're citing all the sources. Okay, and like I said, we will talk about this later. This is a week 4 topic. It's coming, but I just want to make sure that I'm mentioning it right now. Okay, so those are some basic strategies for academic summary, and some ideas to follow. Just making sure that you are trying to encapsulate everything that the other person stated, and we're going to practice this a little bit more on the discussion boards with the Thomas Sowell essay, and try to break it apart a little bit and see if we can do this with one another. And in case you have any questions or concerns, that might be a good strategy to practice while we're at it. So I will look forward to seeing everybody on the discussion boards and moving on into our academic summary.